Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. And I know what you're supposed to say. Oh, the greatest gift of Christmas was spending time with my family. But sometimes it's an actual present that you got. I got some good tech here. I got a new monitor. I got a ton of stuff. My family knows. They're like, let's get Dave something that has to do with YouTube. We know he loves talking gossip online. All right, folks. Well, this is a little bit more than gossip, but there's some gossip and rumors involved. Is Tayshia Adams back with Zac? No, of course not. They're not back together. As long as we know they're not. She spent Christmas alone, but she did like a few of Zac's tweets. Is this a big deal? It's something. It's almost like when you're smelling, it's like, is something burning? You're like, well, I don't see flames, but I do smell something. We smell a possible reemergence of Zac and Tayshia. We'll discuss it. We'll talk about it, respectfully speaking. Listen, I know a lot of, well, not even a lot, but there's a few of you guys that go, oh, Dave hates Tayshia. No. I would love nothing more than for Tayshia and Zac to get back together if they are meant to be together. I don't want them to get back together for anyone's sake but themselves. Sometimes it's good to be with someone who's different than you. Zac's like a overachieving go-getter. He's been through he's an addiction specialist. He's been to hell and back. And Tayshia's, maybe got different career paths than him, but sometimes when you've got different career paths, you can complement each other and not be the same. So, hey, who knows? Maybe they could be good for each other. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at dneals if you'd like to stay up to date with all the content that I've got going on. This week's going to be a little bit different than your normal week. No standard live streams. We are 1 week away from Clayton Eckhart's season of The Bachelor, so we'll be kind of gearing up for that. Lots of other content. But go to Instagram at dneals and check that out, or go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. I'm going to be upping the amount of private live streams I do this year. It's about time you invest. We're close to 200 Patreon members. We're at 180. When we get to 200, we'll have a special Patreon-only live stream. And, of course, that's just extra bonus content I make throughout the week. All right, so let's get into it. We've got this article by People, and then we'll discuss your comments, thinking why they may be getting back together. Tayshia Adams celebrates Christmas with solo trip to the beach following Zac Clark split. Reflect. Tayshia Adams and Zac Clark got engaged on her Bachelorette season, but People confirmed they split last month. So the question is, was the holiday season enough of a time for them to be apart to realize that they could actually want to be together? Or are they just being extra sentimental because it's the holidays and you feel sad? And that's what, after a breakup, every major event, you feel sad, right? It's like every holiday becomes a bigger deal. It's like, wow, I just broke up with someone. I didn't know President's Day would make me feel sad, but I can't buy a car on President's Day and not think about maybe being in the HOV lane with somebody I love. All right, we're warming up. Tayshia Adams is reflecting this holiday season. On Saturday, the 31-year-old former Bachelorette celebrated her first Christmas since breaking off her engagement to Zac Clark with a solo trip to California's Laguna Beach. I love that I say the first Christmas since breaking up. They've only spent one Christmas together. They were only together for a year. Adams and Clark got engaged during the Bachelorette season last year. However, on November 22nd, a rep for Adams confirmed to People that the pair are no longer a couple. And as we know, they broke up after running a marathon together, a highly stressful event. Of course, the original runner of the marathon was someone who was it Philippides? Who was the runner of the marathon? I don't know my Greek mythology. Anyway, he delivered a message. Nike, was that his name? Just do it. And after the message, he allegedly dropped dead. So running long distance can be stressful is the point. Not necessarily good for you. So Tayshia just posts this photo alone at the beach. And we don't know if she was alone. She could have been walking the dog with her family, but of course she posted it alone. So that's what you do. You go to the beach to reflect. We all love the beach, right? Of course, what she said after her breakup on the Men Tell All episode was, all in all I have to say is that I'm heartbroken. But we tried really hard, and I still love him very much. And I'm not sure what the future holds. All right, well, she still loves the guy. So why, did they pursue all avenues of their relationship, or did they just call it quits because of something that might have happened at the marathon? Some people have suggested, look, you run this stressful event. He's like, come on, Tayshia, you got this. And in her head, she's like, once this thing's over, I'm breaking off with you. Or, was his lifestyle and hers just going in different paths? You know what I mean? The day was really tough for me, she said, because that's actually the day that the news broke to everyone. So it was just very heavy. But I had a job to do at the same time, so I'm really happy I was able to be surrounded by all you guys and be supported by that. But it doesn't make any of that easier. Now, of course, course, several days before Christmas, we talked about the idea of Tayshia missing the after the final rose. She said she was exposed to COVID. And of course, everyone who lives in New York City and most of the country is exposed to COVID at this point, which makes it a very valid excuse, but an excuse nonetheless. Right? And it makes you wonder, was she not wanted after the final rose? My thought is, and this isn't any blame on Tayshia, that the producers didn't want her at after the final rose. They wanted to give that to Caitlyn. Maybe, and some people had commented this, which is a fascinating idea, but some people had commented that maybe Tayshia didn't play by the rules that they wanted on the Men Tell All. Maybe they wanted her to go more in depth about her breakup, and she didn't do it. So they're like, you know what? You're in New York. You've been exposed. Don't worry about coming. She's like, oh, really? You're going to play that way? I wouldn't put it past the producers. Again, this is not an indictment on Tayshia. This is just the beast that she's working with. All right, so let's just jump to the good stuff because we don't know much else from this article. Here's Tayshia's Twitter, and here are her last likes. Sing the damn song, tweets Zac, and all is calm, all is bright, Merry Christmas. Of course, in the opposite order. He doesn't just yell, sing the damn song. He says, all is calm, all is bright, Merry Christmas, sing the damn song. Tayshia likes both these tweets. Now, can we like our ex's tweets? Absolutely. Well, when you're in the public eye, you're wondering if this is some sort of message. Is this an olive branch? Is Tayshia reaching out with an olive branch? Do they have some sort of an explosive breakup? And then now she's saying, you know what? You're right. Merry Christmas. And then maybe in the DMs, he goes, I hope you're doing well. And she goes, well, I could be better, ... And then like, whoa, what's going on here? We have no idea. I always said I never saw them getting back together, but now I honestly won't be surprised if they didn't in the future. Also, I like that they at least seem courteous with each other, which is nice to see. All right, a couple more of your comments here. Someone should send this to Jamari, LMAO, but I think he'll be pleased with the attention. Okay, if someone as beautiful and charming as Tayshia can stalk and like her ex's tweets, I can do it too. Okay, Mom, stop badgering me. I wouldn't call it stalking, but, of course, it's tracking at the very least. Honestly, their breakup in this suddenness still baffles me. Same, like they trained for a marathon and ran it together. Then she goes to the hospital and then they break up. Such a weird timeline. It seems pretty self-explanatory to me. And someone goes, yeah. I hate it when someone goes, it seems self-explanatory to me. And everyone's like, well, explain it because it's not, we don't know. And someone says, they were in a stressful situation together, aka training and running a marathon, and some getting hurt, and they couldn't handle it and or hated the other person's personality under the circumstances. Now, as we know, friction builds fire. Sometimes that fire can get you burned. So was Zac's, because like, put it this way, my fiance and myself, if we go play tennis together, I can't, and you guys might relate to this, we have the personality type where I know how to play tennis. I'm a great tennis player. I'll challenge any of you guys. I'm the best tennis player in the world. I'll hit 30 love, 60. I can play good tennis. But if I'm playing with my fiance and I notice she's hitting the ball wrong, I can't be like, hey, babe, if you hit it with your top hand, I can't. Hey. That's not the communication type. She doesn't want to be coached by me. Let's put it that way. Where if some stranger's like, hey, if you hit it this way and punch at it from the net, she'll be like, oh, okay. And she'll listen to them. It's just how some people are with their significant others, that we're not all wanting to be coached. And it could be that Tayshia, didn't want to be pushed the way she was by Zac. I mean, this is very valid. She went to the hospital, whether it's just for dehydration. She had some sort of, if you guys remember, some kidney or some issue. And she goes, listen, this is definitely not from the marathon. And we're all like, this is 100% from the marathon. I'm not a doctor. You ran a marathon and then you went to the hospital. People get organ failures. You get dehydration. Funky things happen when you run 26.2 miles, especially when you have your fiance yelling, go, 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 and cameras and everyone else there. It becomes a whole experience. It's for sure worth talking about. Someone said, really, I think it was coming. They had that weird social media silence for a while, and then months after confirmed they had actually been on the rocks. Tayshia had her own apartment. Zac didn't seem all that happy about Tayshia constantly being away for work. I think doing the marathon was Tayshia's way of trying to connect with Zac over something he was really passionate about, but it ultimately just wasn't enough. They went to Paris a few weeks earlier. Have to agree with other commenter. I had a feeling they'd break up right after the marathon. They're on totally different paths, and I think the marathon was like any big event. I wouldn't say they're on totally different paths. Zac, in his own way, is an influencer. It might not be on social media as much as promoting his company, going on podcasts, motivational speaking. I wouldn't say, just because Tayshia hosted Bachelorette and gets other gigs, I wouldn't say that Tayshia's on some sort of trajectory that Zac can't handle. It just so happens Tayshia was hosting a show, which she's probably no longer going to be hosting, The Bachelorette. I would assume, if I had to put money on it, she won't be the next host of The Bachelorette. My assumption would be it's either Jesse Palmer or, more likely, Caitlin Bristowe. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll have to see. We'll look back on it. But even if she were the next host of The Bachelorette, yes, they did film a Katie season and Michelle season this year, which can be stressful. But in most years, they film one season of The Bachelorette and one season of The Bachelor, which has to be 5 or 6 weeks away from your significant other, and they can visit once or twice. I mean, this isn't, if your relationship can't withstand that sort of adversity, of course it can't last. But I wouldn't say that they're on completely separate trajectories. Not gonna lie, I still think they may get back together. Not saying it'll actually last, because most couples who get back together break up again. Please don't comment my husband and I broke up and got back together 14 years now. I know there are obvious exceptions, but I just found it kind of interesting how Tayshia didn't say much on Men Tell All and kind of left it open. She kind of did leave it open. Yeah, I thought the fact she left it open vague meant there's a possibility. All right, folks, so we see some comments, and let me know what you guys think. Feel free to call the voicemail line, 401-213-9828. If you have any sort of takes on this matter that haven't been thought about, I'd love to hear them. In the end, we root for these couples to succeed. It's why we watch the show. We also watch when there's breakups and failure, but we actually do want them to succeed, myself included. So here's to hoping that Zac and Tayshia, if there's anything left on the table, that they're able to talk it out and maybe get back together. Who knows? Would love to hear your thoughts, and more content coming your way later today. Bye, guys.